We'll move on to the ruling All Progressives Congress now, which has commenced its presidential primary election preparation to select who will fly the party's flag into the 2023 polls. Now, the party's delegates, leaders, as well as observers have started converging on Abuja, and specifically will be at the Eagle Square, where the election will hold to elect the flag bearer. Now, the winner will challenge candidates of some major parties, including that of the main opposition, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, as well as Peter Obi of the Labour Party. And then the APC Presidential Screening Committee had screened 23 aspirants, and there was an advisory that 10 of them should actually withdraw, though the NWC of the party has said that they haven't taken a position on the outcome of that report, and that they will be allowed to contest if they insist. Now, the chairman of the screening committee, John Odige Oyegun, while submitting its report to the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Sule, said 13 others were actually asked to stand in to contest because they have the capacity to win. And of course, we've seen the media subcommittee of the APC National Convention being chaired again by the governor of Nasarawa State, Governor Abdullahi Sule, who was coincidentally the chairman of the media committee in the last national convention where a national chairman emerged. Well, which way will the presidency go? Who will emerge victorious at the APC presidential national convention that's holding? Well, for more on this, I'm glad to be joined in the studio now by the governor of Nasarawa State, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule. So good to have you here. And I'm just wondering, there's just this fancy about you being in charge of the media committee. Do you by chance have any journalism qualifications? Or what makes you to be the darling of the APC when it comes to the issues of being at the forefront of telling the people what the issues are?
Well, thank you very much. I think before I say anything on the convention, let me use the opportunity to condole with my dear brother and friend, the governor of Ondo State, His Excellency Akeredolu ISAN. It's a very, very wicked act. It's very unfortunate. It's not the right thing to be happening in a country such as ours. And we pray that all those affected, God will give them the kind mind to go through what is happening, and then the governor also. So our hearts are with them, and we keep praying for them. Coming back to your question, actually, it's a teamwork. If you remember last time, I had all the big guns with me of the media. All of them were there with me. We worked together as a team. I provided the leadership and a little bit of mine that I know. I have been in the corporate world, and I have dealt many times with the media. So we applied a little bit of what I knew, and then of course I used the knowledge and the experiences of some of those people, Lai Mohammed, Garbashir, who and Natu Musa. They were all part of the committee, and they still are. So we were able to deliver, and I believe, we probably have done a very good job for them to renominate me to come back still with some of those members as well. So that's where we are really. I don't think there is anything special about my knowledge of that. I'm an engineer by profession. So.
Yeah, and I know you've been in the engineering world for so much, manufacturing and all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's come back to your party, the APC. A lot of Nigerians are confused why, for the first time, the APC is fixing a convention for 3 days. The media, we kept enlightening people that the main date for the convention is going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday. But just so many persons were fixated on it being today. And just when they saw the reality, they were confused. Why didn't the APC convention begin today?
No, it actually started today with the arrival of all the delegates. The way the APC said the program is that there are going to be 3 days. The first day is going to be arrival of all the delegates. We want all the delegates to be in Abuja, today. That way, if there are certain aspirants that would like to visit with them, discuss with them, share their agenda and their plan for Nigeria, which will be the right thing, they should be able to do that today, because as you know, tomorrow on the stage, all the aspirants, 23 of them for that matter, they are just and they are given only 1 hour according to the program we saw. So you can imagine 23 people given 1 hour, so they are just going to be given maybe about 2-3 minutes. So if they want to talk much longer with the delegates, for the delegates to even understand them and appreciate who they are, You know, so it was best for them to arrive today. So I'm sure that's the reason why the party set it up for this.
Okay, very good explanation there, but we've always seen instances where some governors bring their delegates and lock them up and refuse other aspirants to, you know, see them. So what is the APC doing to prevent all of this, so that there will be access to all the delegates by all the aspirants, irrespective of whether you're a top chieftain of the APC or you're even an ordinary member that wants to get the presidential ticket?
No, I think what happened is that some of the aspirants have made special provision, you know, for hotels, you know, for some of these delegates. So if somebody, say from Oyo State, let me pick a state that is not APC
state.
You know, somebody from Oyo State, for instance, you know, is contesting for the office of the president, and then he actually comes with his delegate and he houses them in a certain hotel. So it is really fair for them to do that, but it's up to him to say that I allow others. Personally, I did, you know, in my own situation. When I was running during our primaries, you know, I actually had my delegate station in one place, and then my opponent came, and I gave my opponent the opportunity to address the delegates, and she actually addressed them. You know, so I think it depends. If there is nothing you are afraid of, you know, you should allow the delegates the freedom, you know, to be able to hear from everybody. At the end of the day, they select who they strongly believe is the right person for the country, especially at a time like this.
Not many aspirants are that kind. Now let's talk about the number of delegates that will be voting. The PDP had 1 national delegate, and we hear the APC is going to have 3. How many exactly will be voting? Because there's still some controversy. We're hearing that some special people may be added to the 3 or so. Exactly what number will be at the convention?
Well, the party will be in the best position to give you the number. However, yesterday during the meeting, what we were told, you know, by the National Working Committee, was that there are going to be 3, and if you multiply that by 774 local government areas in the country, you will come up with about 2,300 plus, you know, and that's exactly what they gave us. So if there is going to be any special delegates, there should have been maybe the president himself, you know, the governors, and so. But we're not delegates. The law doesn't allow that. And actually, part of the rumors about people, they have to understand that according to the INEC guidelines, you know, all the delegates list must have been submitted to them at least a week before that. So if you go and start introducing some delegates now, how are you going to live by that?
Yeah, because there were accusations against some of your fellow governors that they were tampering with the list. Some are saying that the National Working Committee was being, you know, they were receiving lots of pressure to tamper with the list. And we're like, how will that happen when INEC already has a list? And then there was the Kano judgment, which the party says it has appealed, and statutory delegates won't be part of it. I just want you to put it on record. What is the situation at the moment?
No, I think as far as we are concerned, we are not going to be in violation of any of these laws. Neither the constitution of the country, nor the Electoral Act, or of course the INEC guidelines. So the INEC guidelines clearly spelled it out. You know, you have to submit the list at least 7 days, and the list had been submitted. So if anybody really is tampering with the list right now, it's maybe due to lack of knowledge. I don't know how they will go around it. You know, we are not interested in tampering with the list. The list we submitted is the same list we are going to live by. And for us in Nasarawa State, as far as the list for the national delegate is concerned, nobody has tampered with it, neither from the state nor from the federal. So we are good to go.
And what are you doing to ensure that there's level playing ground for all the aspirants at the convention, so that there's no feeling by any aspirant that he or she is being excluded? And then, of course, what you are going to do when it comes to issues of vote buying and dollarization of party primaries, I would say.
No, I can only deal with our own delegates. You know, I met with our delegates, and yesterday, actually, I met with them and told them, delegates, now it's your time, and it is your opportunity. We are working with you to ensure that you have to get the right person who will be able to keep our party together, who is best for this country, and the rest of that. And as far as I'm concerned, as I told them, as I said yesterday, you know, I had not said go and do X aspirant, you know, so go listen to them. And we had allowed many aspirants to come and see them, you know, so aspirants have, about 3 or 4 aspirants have come and seen our own delegates. You know, we gave them that opportunity. You know, so because from the beginning, really, we got a hotel so that they wouldn't be under any particular aspirant's custody. You know, but so far they are free. They are moving around, and we didn't lock any door yet. You know, in our own case.
Unlike what some people do, locking them and taking the key away. Now let's go to the main political issues that we have on ground. You were one of the governors. 11 governors actually signed from the north in the APC that there should be power shift to the south. Tell us why you and your colleagues took that decision.
I think first is the way the information was released to the public. You know, very unfortunate. I just came back from a meeting with Mr. President and other governors, and that was the reason why we went to see Mr. President and sincerely apologized to him. You know, because Mr. President is somebody who had always done whatever he could for the benefit of this country and for the future of Nigeria, and also for the progress of our party. He has paid his dues, and he has gone through that. So he deserves better than hearing our position, you know, on the pages of newspaper or on social media. So we believe, as governors and the leaders of the various regions, that we needed to make an input into what was going on. So we sat down and we decided to exclude the southern governors, because it was better, if we are going to discuss something like that, to exclude them. You know, so we excluded them and we discussed frankly among us, and there was a lot of debate. It wasn't something that we sat down and say, yes, everybody agree, we are going to go that. No, you know, so yeah, so we sat down, we discussed the matter at length, and we said, you know what is best? So from the heated arguments that were put in there, a lot of people believe that for some kind of give and take, for the unity of the party, for this and that, the presidency should rotate. And those who presented this argument actually carried the day. And as leaders, we said, all right, we'll go with that position. But let it remain just a position. We are going to set a team of 3 to Mr. President to go and say, Mr. President, we sat down, we thought about this, what do you think about it? And Mr. President say, no, I want to present everybody, I don't want to exclude any region. We'll say, okay, it's dead on arrival, this matter is finished. You know, so while we were waiting for appointment, the 3 of us go and see Mr. President, somebody, boom, just released the information to the public. You know, and to be honest with you, I was devastated, I was blown away. You know, I couldn't recover myself throughout. I said, what is happening? Who did this? You know, because I was one of the 3 to go and see him. And I knew we had not yet seen him. And the information was in the public. You know, so I felt terribly bad, honestly speaking. You know, not the kind of president who had been so kind to us. Yeah, so today's meeting, the apology was because of that. Well, we went apologized to Mr. President and told him this was our idea. It's not like we are saying we didn't take that position. We are not retracting from that position. We are not withdrawing from that position. That's the position we have taken. You know, as gentlemen, if we have taken a position, we must be strong enough to say, yes, that's what we took, and these were our reasons, you know, that we have taken. And it was meant to be communicated privately to President Buhari. And if he had said, no, I want to, don't exclude any region, allow it open, then what we decided was that it will be dead. The matter will be dead right there and then. Okay, and now, has President Buhari told you his position as regards that? Because immediately that happened, the presidency sent out a statement saying that no, Buhari is not part of that decision making. But after meeting with him today and since it's in the public, what's been Buhari's decision? No, I think it's the same. Mr. President today said, I don't have any preferred candidate, which means I don't have any preferred... So he doesn't support a shift to the southern zone of the country? No, he doesn't support excluding any particular region. He is saying that I don't have any particular reference. It's a party affair. He said, go and sit down with the party and come back to me and say that you as leaders of the party, we are the leaders of the party in our own states. You know, then we have the National Working Committee. And then we have the party officials in the state. So he said, go and sit down together and then come up with a position, and I will support your position. I don't want to impose anyone. I don't want to say I'm excluding anyone, you know, and that's what he said. And that's what a statesman will do, really. But previously, in the meetings you had with him, he has said that you, governor, should allow him to, you know, select his successor.
Isn't he still standing on that? Or you think the backlash from the public after that statement, especially from the PDP, saying that that's a very bad precedent, that he should be talking about selecting his own party's flag bearer, not successor, because that meant, like, it looks like he already knows that the next president of the country will be coming from the APC. If
he had said a flag bearer, the PDP will have said, why didn't he say a successor? You know, I'm telling you, the fact is that you are dealing with the opposition. It doesn't matter what you say, they are going to say the opposite. So we're not really worried about what PDP is saying. But what we are doing is that, what is the right thing to do? You know, the right thing to do, the president said, help assist me, you know, in doing that. And by that, a lot of us read the statement differently. If we understood that the president said, don't do anything whatsoever, you know, stay away from this, I'm going to give you a successor, okay, then maybe we will not have had the meeting. But our understanding of it, when he say, help me to do that, we were thinking that we could also sit down and come up with ideas and say, Mr. President, we are thinking this idea, what do you think? Which was what we did. You know, but if our understanding was that, stay out of it, don't do anything right now, keep quiet, I am going to select somebody, who probably will have just kept quiet to say, okay, or maybe somebody will have said, Mr. President, that may not be the right thing to do. What do you think if we do this? You know, but our understanding was, when he said, help me to do that, you know, because he called us and actually asked us for assistance to do that, we had been given the opportunity, you know, we should help him to assist him also to get a successor. So our thinking was that we could also suggest, and that's what we did. Okay,
and in the midst of all of this decision that you took, the Southern Governors Forum have thanked you, congratulated you, and they said they are very happy with your decision, which is very, very patriotic. We saw that statement by your colleague, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State. We've seen other parts of the country also saying that, look, the Northern governors have shown how patriotic they are in trying to understand the geopolitics of the country and to bind the country together. But in the midst of all of this, we saw one of your colleagues, Abubakar Badero, trying to make a recant, saying that, look, he has said that he will step down his presidential ambition, but it is based on the proviso that President Buhari agrees to your own position. And so that hasn't happened now, and so he's still in the race. What do you make of such a decision? Isn't it confusing to a lot of Nigerians?
No. If you look at also what we said, what he said is different from what we said. If you remember, I said we were going to go quiet, secretly, maybe put it the right way, you know, and politely. Just three of us to say, Mr. President, this is it. If he says no, we were going to allow it to die right there and then. So if you look at what we signed, actually Governor Badalo didn't sign at the meeting, because he said, out of respect for Mr. President, I will go first. Coincidentally, he had dinner with him that night with all the aspirants. I was going to sit down with him, have dinner, and then move closer to him and say, Mr. President, we had a meeting and they have done this. And I do agree with this meeting and I'm willing to withdraw. And if Mr. President says, okay, wonderful idea, I agree with you, I'm also going to go with that plan, then he will withdraw. That's his statement. But if Mr. President does not give him a straightforward answer, then he will remain. You know, but unfortunately, you know, the same news that leaked is the news that said he had withdrawn. You understand? So that is what happened. So I think the leakage, you know, this social media is too complicated for some of us. You know,
sometimes your colleagues actually release this information too, because they have a particular reason for doing so, because they may think maybe the process may be interrupted before the private communication gets to President Buhari. Yes. Now let's take a look at the geopolitics of the country right now. While a lot of Nigerians are commending your approach to it, in the APC right now, we've seen 23 presidential aspirants coming up. And some critics of President Buhari have said that it is because he kept on telling everyone that came to him that, go, I have given you my blessing, go and purchase form and all of that. So it caused a lot of confusion. If he had it in his mind that he would want a successor to emerge from the party, why don't at least why didn't he try to restrict the number of persons that were coming out by telling them, look, at least let's try to limit this to 5 or 6, and then from there it becomes easier? Was it just being afraid of the backlash that may happen if he says that he wants a successor, which is already happening?
You see, the truth of the matter, sir, is that it doesn't matter how he said it. People who will criticize him. That's the truth. If he had sat down in one place and say, you come, no, I'm going to contest. No, you don't contest. I'll stay out of it. You can go and contest. You know, if he had said anything like that, the criticism, the barrage of criticism on him will have been 10 times more than what it is.
But you know it's not good on some of his cabinet members. How will someone lose his ministerial position because the president has given some form of green light only for the president to now start saying that he needs a particular successor? Don't you think it will affect those who have resigned?
No, he didn't
like
say
Rotimi Amechi and all of that.
He didn't say I need a particular successor. He never said that. Even today,
yeah, but he needs a successor to emerge. Yeah,
well, whoever will take over from him will be his successor. You know, that's why I'm telling you, it is the grammar. Maybe some of us don't speak this grammar very, very tough. You know, so he needs somebody who will take over from him. You know, in our own case, we say you have a predecessor and a successor. Up till now, I still call Tanko Al-Mukura, you know, my predecessor, and he calls me his successor. You know, and it's the same in so many other states.
Yeah, that's because he helped to curate your entry.
No, in a state where, in Ogun, for instance, okay, Amosun still calls Dapo his successor, my successor, Dapo. And Dapo calls Amosun my predecessor, you know, the governor before me. So that's what I'm telling you, it's just the use of the word and the grammar. So did he help him? Was he there? In fact, they finished with a fight. So I think it's just the use of the word, the way we use it. So some of us use it very loosely, and then some people who really understand the English, you know, have a different meaning for it. I don't believe the president is saying, I will select somebody, because I'm telling you just now, we finished a meeting with him not up to an hour ago, where he said to us, I don't have a preferred candidate.
And Tinubu feels betrayed by that statement, saying that after his investment, having been called national leader in quote of the APC, just when it matters, when he's supposed to be shown that he's the real national leader of the party, I mean, it just looks like the president is not with him. And of course, people are also afraid to identify with him because they think the president is not with him.
I don't think people are afraid to identify with Tinubu. I don't think you are getting the information correctly. The truth of the matter is Tinubu is somebody we highly respect. He visited so many of our own states. We spoke very highly, eloquently about him. His contributions to the build-up of this party, and even from the alliance, you know, is not anything that anyone can push around. And I think the president has shown that. By when Tinubu was not feeling well, the president was one of the few people that traveled all the way. When Tinubu was having his book, the president was there all the time. I think the president has shown with all sense of humility, you know, that you can say he's not for Tinubu. But you have to understand the psyche of the president. What the president clearly says is that the president has so many friends among them. You know, some of them are very close friends of the president, and some of them he knew them, and they were real close, even earlier than Tinubu, for instance. You know, but the contributions of Tinubu to this party cannot be underestimated by anybody.
So Tinubu should not feel betrayed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You know.
Now, let's talk about Nasarawa State. I mean, your state has been playing a prominent role in national politics of recent. I mean, we saw your predecessor, Tanko Al-Makura, wanting the APC national chairmanship position, and then, of course, he wasn't successful. We eventually have Abdullahi Sule getting the position. Tell us why Nasarawa is emerging as a very, very powerful state in terms of Nigerian politics. And then, coincidentally, your neighbor, Benue State, is holding the position of national chairman of the main opposition, PDP. So it looks like there's this rivalry between Nasarawa and Benue State, which has always been right from the days of Benue Plateau, I mean, and all of that. But then it was between Plateau and Benue State, but now it's between Benue and Nasarawa State. Tell us more about that.
I don't think it's too much of a rivalry. Benue has held some of these positions before. You know, Gemade was national chairman, Nasarawa didn't have any. Audu Egbe was national chairman of a party, Nasarawa didn't have any, and now of course you have Ayu, who is also national chairman. I think for us in Nasarawa State, one of the reasons why we continue to actually get the limelight is because we deserved this long time ago. You know, Nasarawa has the longest proximity, has the longest line connecting Abuja. A lot of people working in Abuja practically live in Nasarawa State. So, but Nasarawa State has not been gaining the benefits, of all this. So the population alone.
Because people say that the Nasarawa State government, including Niger, haven't been able to put policies in place that can tap into, the benefits of being close to the FCT.
Well, we are putting them now, and that's the reason why we are beginning to get the limelight. So it's because we are now coming out, to show ourselves. We are no longer living in cocoon.
Yeah, I've seen the boss project that you did,
yes,
and the international market, and a few ones trying to even build a housing estate. Tell us why you think that investing close to the FCT can help Nasarawa develop further, including the cargo airport you're building.
The proximity, actually. Coming from the private sector where I come from, the only way is to go closer to the market, closer to where the activity is taking place, closer to where the show is happening. Before Tanko Al-Makur actually left, he acquired about 13,000 hectares of land, Guruku Kabusu, just stone throw from Maitama. We are working now on developing that. So other than that, you have seen some of the things that we are doing. We are doing now the technology village. It wouldn't be making any sense to take the technology village to my village.
Like some other governors do.
Yeah, so it's better to take it to where it will benefit the state. And that's why we brought it there. So anything that is going to be for the benefit of the state. And our ultimate goal really is that Karu alone should be able to be generating 50 to 60% of our entire state revenue. And that's where we are working on.
I've seen that most of your projects are concentrated. As we try to round off this conversation, you are a leader in the North Central geopolitical zone. Why has there been some sort of silence in the North Central when it has to do with seeking the presidency? It looks like the North Central geopolitical zone has settled for second or third positions in Nigeria, like Senate presidency or party chairman, and we haven't seen the North Central coming out to seek for the presidency under the democratic setting that we are. Is it because he's being blackmailed with the military leadership of Gawon, of Babangida, and then Abdul Salami Abubakar?
No. The governor of Kogi is the youngest person seeking for this position.
And we wonder why it's only him. That's what people are saying. Himself and Saraki in the main opposition were there, but a lot of persons were expecting that, considering the votes that usually come out from this geopolitical zone, that more people should seek the presidency.
No, I think, one of the things for us, as far as we are concerned, I strongly believe so, is the belief that some of us felt if the North had done that, North Central is not. So we should wait for an opportunity. That's why you see majority. So instead, we had two people from Nasarawa State going for the national chairmanship. It is actually the counterpart of being the president. So we went for the highest position. But in this case, it was, the party leadership that we went for. And we were lucky, actually, we got it in Nasarawa State for the first time in the history of the state. So being the president, of the country, I think it requires a lot of other issues. You have to look at so many other things to put together. It's not just because I have the resources, or I'm from North Central, or I'm this, therefore I can be president. But when our friend and colleague, the governor of Kogi wanted to do that from the beginning, we all say it's a good idea, but it's too early for anybody right now to tell you is yes or no. And of course he went in. And he's doing very well.
Okay. We just hope you all support the best person to emerge.
Exactly.
But very quickly, before we let you go, there are reports that we're getting that Senator Abdullahi Sule, national chairman of the APC, has declared Ahmed Lawan as the consensus candidate. Is there anything like that, perchance, that may have happened during your meeting with Mr. President earlier in the day?
No. As far as the president is concerned, the meeting we had with him, he told us that he does not have a preferred person, and he said this is a party affair. So if the party had done that, they are yet to inform the governors. I've not been informed about it. I don't know about it.
Okay, and you're ready to give the PDP a very strong fight in terms of organizing a very good convention, like they did.
22 governors are going to put together and give the PDP a very good fight for them.
Okay, we must thank you so much. Abdullahi Sule is the governor of Nasarawa State in the north-central part of Nigeria. We must thank you for being on the show to help enlighten our viewers on preparation for tomorrow's APC National Convention, a special national convention where the presidential candidate of the party will emerge. And that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Samuel.